we have Tanya Haughton-Allen. We're just going to call you Tanya.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Welcome. And yeah, you own the Uber fashion shop. I don't know, did you just call it Uber or?
Well, there is a slight debate because there is another company called Uber, a little company that I hear drives cars around. But so we're Uber
Well done.
Clothing Limited.
Uber Clothing Limited. That's
Yes,
right.
yeah.
That's right. And you don't pay through an app. You actually
No,
just
you don't pay for an app. Although we were black frontage with white writing
No.
originally. So I don't know how that managed to get onto the other Uber, but that's something we'll leave now, I think.
Yeah. Well, I'm more interested, first of all, about your background, because this is not the first time you've dabbled in fashion. Tell us more.
So now I'm old, but in my younger days, I was a stylist and I traveled around the world and I did lots of jobs from Kenya to Italy to Mallorca, South Africa,
Wow.
France, all over the world. And I dressed people. So it could be for commercial things like, say, catalogues, like the big catalogues, or like sports or something. I was very into sports at the time, so I was the sports stylist. So I got all the hunky men, basically.
Wow. Tough job, but somebody's got to do
Oh,
it.
absolutely. But it's not as glamorous as it sounds because you're sort of lugging 8 coffin trunks around with you and you're stuck in a room with a large steamer. So it's not as exciting. It is exciting, but not as, there is work to do as well. And then I did a lot of bands and did short films. But I sort of come from a family. My dad's an OB cameraman, which means outside broadcast, and did
Okay.
a lot of sport. And my sister's a director and a photographer, and my niece is a hair and makeup artist, and my
Wow.
grandma was an acting agent.
Oh, it's like the whole industry is
We're
in
a
the same
dynasty.
house. Yeah, exactly. You're a
Fractured
dynasty.
dynasty.
How did you find your passion for fashion?
I sort of fell into it, really. I started working for Selfridges when I was really young, and I was in the buying department, and I went in there going, I don't want to do fashion, right? I'm not doing fashion, I'm doing nothing fashion, but I had this sort of really wacky dress sense, so I'd have a false plait down my hair and white boots and a pink silk skirt, and I started on gardening, and then I started on cookery, and they kept trying to move me to fashion. And I was like, no, I don't want to do fashion. And in the end I succumbed and absolutely loved it. And then I left and went traveling to Israel and lived on a kibbutz for 6 months, and then came back overland. And then when I came back, I just sort of fell into it because the person I was with at the time, my partner at the time, was into music. I ended up dressing all the artists and things like that. So it sort of just progressed from that, really.
That's amazing. And when you travel to different countries, different cultures, does the definition of beauty change?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Beauty has many definitions in many countries. So say if you're in America, especially Miami, as I did a lot of work in Miami, as it's by the sea and it's sunny, then people's bodies are very important to them. So Miami, you would walk down the road, especially on the beach area, and you'd see all these amazing young things in tiny shorts or big muscled boys, and they'd be, rollerblading down the road looking absolutely fabulous, and everything's perfect. Whether it's engineered perfect or
Natural perfect.
perfect was another debate, but, it was all about showing off the perfect blonde, the perfect lips, perfect legs, perfect tone, etc., etc. When I was in Morocco on my honeymoon with my husband, for instance, just to give a completely reverse to it, we spent 3 weeks there, and we met these French sisters who were really quite wild, obviously on one night, having dinner and things. And one sister was very curvy and the other sister was very slender, and they'd been traveling in India. And in India, they thought that the slender sister was the curvier sister's servant because
she didn't have enough to eat.
Because she was slim, and in India it was considered to be attractive to be curvy because it meant you were wealthy, basically.
Yeah.
And that was considered attractive. So that's sort of one of the ways that beauty can change in different cultures.
Right. And it's also interesting because if you went to Morocco or maybe countries where they cover their bodies, it's not about your body. Most people will never see your body. Then beauty maybe is more around the garments or material, is it?
Well, obviously in some cultures and religious cultures, the garments are like a uniform in a way. So it's difficult. So I would say eyes are really important. Kohl.
True.
And kohl originally was used to stop the reflection of the sun. If you lived in a hot country, to stop the sun burning your eyes, if you had kohl there, it helped that. So I think it's the way that kohl's put on under the eyes can really reflect beauty. Like in the olden days in England, it was a fan used to do a similar thing in a different way. So you could use, your kohl to put on your kohl, maybe to be more flirtatious or to say that
you cover things. Oh, I remember those old European movies where people just flutter their fans in front of their faces, that mysterious...
That's a conversation. So there was a whole fan language that basically meant, oh, I'm interested in you, let me drop my hanky on the floor. Oh, dear, pick it up for me again. Sort of thing. Or I'm not interested. Yeah. Or, even for an argument, I guess, it was a definite language that we obviously have lost in this day and age now. But yeah, the different cultures have different forms of beauty, definitely.
And what's your favorite fashion style? Is there such a thing? Is it and what do you reflect in your shop?
So for me, I think fashion needs to be sustainable, and I think and I'm not accusing anyone here, or I'm not putting any blame on anything, but I think very fast fashion forward turning over companies who sort of relate to the catwalk, and 2 hours after it's come off the catwalk, they've got a factory in some part of the world churning this out and then selling it for £5 isn't great. I don't really believe in that. For me, fashion is about, it doesn't really go out of fashion. A brilliant cashmere jumper doesn't go out of fashion, or a brilliant white shirt doesn't go out of fashion, or a great fitting pair of jeans doesn't go out of fashion. The jean width might slightly change, or your jacket length might slightly change. So for me, I think everyday fashion is really important. So what I term my shop's fashion as is tomboy sexy. So it's sort of everyday fashion. So for me, it makes more sense. So instead of going to a Christmas party, when we were allowed to go to Christmas parties, obviously.
We will soon have that. Sorry, there's no lockdown.
You spend £400 on a beautiful Christmas dress that you're going to wear to a couple of do's over Christmas, and then it goes in the back of your wardrobe, and then you don't wear it. And then the next Christmas, you might want another one, and you might pull it out a couple of years later or something. Well, to me, that seems an awful waste of resources on a budget. Surely, I don't know, you can call me wrong, but surely would it not be better to buy an incredible jacket that you can wear every day, pound for wear, each wear, or an incredible white shirt, or a great pair of jeans, like buy a jacket and a shirt for £400 and you wear that 2 or 3 times a week? Isn't that better than wearing a £400 dress every 3 years, for instance?
Well, assuming that you haven't consume too much mince pies and 3 years later you still can't fit into that dress.
Oh, well, there's always elastic.
So tomboy sexy, but you also have the men's line, don't you?
Yes, we did. Yeah. And that's our store's really different, I think, because when it was started, it really was a case of everyone sells the same things. So you, like in Bath, for instance, before the pandemic, you could go into the big department store on Milsom Street and you could see a concession that was literally across the road selling the same stuff. And it's like, well, why are you using that space? Because I used to do concessions for Top Man. That was one of my first jobs. So why? And I know concessions are built on floor space, how much each bit of that floor space makes and how much it's all about. So I'm thinking, but you've got a shop over there and then you've got a concession here. So I don't understand what the logic is in that.
Maybe you walk from one side of the street, can't be bothered crossing the street. I don't get it.
To me, it's complete madness. So then there's no variety. So everyone ends up looking the same. And that is my pet hate, is people meeting each other on the high road looking exactly the same. For me, that is...
Try attending a wedding and realizing that someone across the room had the same dress. That was me.
Oh, no.
Exactly the same dress because we bought it at the same shop. But anyway, well, I want to get back to you with more fashion tips. We'll be back with Tanya after this.
Made locally in Bath. This is Radio Bath.
Welcome back to Brave Business Conversations with Tanya from
Hello.
Uber Clothing Ltd. You should really visit her shop because I've had a couple pieces from there. And yes, they do last. And we were talking about sustainable fashion instead of buying something that you only wear once or twice, but really enjoying what you wear.
Yeah, absolutely. But I do understand the young wanting lots of clothes. I do. I mean, we were all young once, so I do understand that. I suppose I'm an old fuddy-duddy, so,
Well, I think if you look at Instagram these days, there are a lot of shops encouraging buying basics, putting things together differently. You must have these essentials.
Capsule wardrobe.
Yeah, exactly. And not be boring. I mean, you can have different splashes of color.
Oh, of course.
But I think a lot of people also buy, and I'm saying me, because we don't know what looks good on us. And so how do you prevent yourself from being that kind of shopper because you're confused of what to buy?
Well, women in particular have this thing where, they find a grey T-shirt and they love a grey T-shirt, and then whenever they go shopping, they always buy a grey T-shirt. So they have about 30 in their wardrobe. And all of us are prone to that. And the other thing as women are prone to do is pick completely the wrong colour for ourselves because we happen to love that colour. So for me, that colour's turquoise. And I love turquoise, but I'm dark-skinned, blue-eyed, brown-haired. And it just doesn't suit my complexion at all.
But you like the color.
But I like the colour. So I think that's a mistake a lot of us make. I think, for instance, the average woman tries on 18 pairs of different jeans before she finds the pair that suits her body. So I'll just give, if that's all right with you, a little outline on body shapes for women and jeans. So my body shape, I put body shapes in roughly 2 categories because then it doesn't become all complicated and technical. So my body shape I call Mediterranean type. It doesn't mean that my DNA is Mediterranean. What it means is I'm about 5'4". We'll just add that 1/4 of an inch to give me a bit of height. And I am very long in the waist, and my weight goes on my bottom and my thighs. And I have what's called the Mediterranean knee, which is a little bit of fatness on the knee, which a lot of Greek girls have, a lot of black girls have, a lot of Indian girls don't have that. It's just the body shape from where you're from. And then there's what I call the Northern European type women who tend to have very long legs, very long arms, not long, but and shorter waists. Mm-hmm. So their weight goes in the middle. So it goes around their tummy and, so they can put weight on the tummy, but never on their legs or never on their arms. So jeans for these 2 types of people are very, very different. So if you're long-legged, you have the luxury of wearing your jeans lower slung because your legs will take up that length and proportion you. So in a way, it's better to have a slightly lower slung jean because then that lengthens your waist and puts the body into proportion. For my type of body, which is long in the waist and curvy on the butt and thighs, it's better to have high-waisted jeans because then that elongates your leg length and puts everything into proportion. And these are little tricks that when you go shopping, you need. If you look at yourself in the mirror and you think, okay, so if that high waist pair of jeans that goes to my belly button, on my waist, it's also very good for hiding, last night's dinner because it just tucks it all in as well if it's high-waisted.
Yeah, I was just going to say muffin top. Sometimes mid-rise to low-rise. I mean, for me, that's like muffin top.
Well, high waist jeans.
High waist, I love high waist jeans
because for me that it hides everything. It's perfect. It's really good. So those types of jeans are different. And the other thing, which is highly, highly important before you start wearing any clothes at all, is your underwear. underwear is paramount, and I am famous for hoiking bras up in my shop, and people will testify to that and laugh. I suppose it's a bit of a Susanna moment, but I do, because if your bra isn't at the right position on your body, then say for instance jackets and shirts have darts in the side. So if they're not put in the right place, then the button gates open at the top. If your straps are in the right position and your breasts are, it gives you a longer waist. Because if your breasts are hanging slightly lower, you lose that narrow part on your rib cage. So underwear is honestly, if you're going to spend anything, it doesn't matter what you wear, spend it on your underwear, because underwear can make you look like 18 again when you're 61. That's a slight exaggeration, but you know what, you get the gist of what I'm saying, basically. And also it takes away the button popping, it takes away the jacket. Like if you ever buy a jacket from France, women's breastplates in France are very different from English breastplates because they're slightly lower and less full at the top. So the darts are put in different. So you always feel like you're slightly straining on the back with a French jacket, although it's such a shame because they're so beautiful, their clothes. You always feel slightly, and if your body's made that was perfect for you. English women are well known for having large breasts. I mean, it's very well known that the English women have like some of the largest breasts in Europe, and we have short necks. Whereas, say, German and Austrian women have much longer necks. So quite often, unless you're very blessed with a swan neck, formal shirts look quite difficult because sometimes you can look like a floating head with a formal woman's shirt because your head is just floating on the collar. So it might be better sometimes just have a relaxed collar. And one of the most beautiful parts of a woman's body is the décolleté bone, which is the bone that runs...
The shoulder bone.
Yeah, well, it sort of runs... No, it's not...
Collarbone.
Your collarbone. It's called... And the French name's so sexy, the décolleté. It's such a beautiful, beautiful bone. And every woman, it doesn't matter what age, has a beautiful décolleté bone. And it's such a beautiful thing. It's not overshowing anything. It's age appropriate. And if you have a relaxed shirt, that makes it a really beautiful feature on the body, and slightly unnoticed and unappreciated, but it is a beautiful part of a woman's body, definitely.
Oh, amazing. I love this. And during the break, she's going to give me tips on how I dress.
I give myself tips. I can dress anyone but myself. It's very strange.
Exactly. One of the privileges of being a Radio Bath presenter. Anyway, but we were talking about your favorite music, and you said, can you play I've Heard It Through the Grapevine by Marvin Gaye? Tell us a bit more about why that song is special for you.
So it's special because it makes my husband cry, because it's such a beautiful song. He was also an amazing, almost poet, and I don't think he was appreciated enough at the time of what he did. And his music is so personal to the times that he lived in. And also, hear it through the grapevine, hear it through Bath Radio.
Yeah, hear it through the grapevine. You should definitely visit her shop.
Oh, thank you. It's so sweet of you. Thank you so much.
All right. Marvin Gaye.
This is Radio Bath. Radio Bath.
And we're back with Tanya from Uber Clothing Ltd. Up in Margaret Buildings. Do you do this business alone, or?
No. I have an amazing partner called Angela Hadrell, and without her, I would just be a wisp of wind running around, because I'm very creative and a bit wild and woolly. And Angela really, really keeps me, it together through the pandemic. She was amazing with all her cash flows and made sure everyone got paid and everyone got looked after. And, she's really good at keeping me under wraps, because otherwise, the shop would have everything. And I want that, and I want that, and I want that, and I want that.
But it's good to have the combination, isn't
absolutely.
it? Yeah, left
brain,
right brain.
Yeah,
the creative side as well as the...
I mean, she's creative too, but she's much more practical than I am, and much more logical. I'm not terribly British like this. I'm a very emotional type of person. I cry at butter commercials. That's how bad I am.
Cry butter commercials when they cook something nice and I'm hungry.
Oh, that's true.
So the final tips for people who are looking to be more sustainable in their clothing. Let's say decluttering your clothes. Let's say they've already bought those 34 pieces of gray blouses, you know. What are some of the questions that they can run through their head as they're looking at that wardrobe and saying, how do I transition?
So I think the first thing to do is look at your lifestyle. So I think since after the pandemic, well, we're still in a pandemic, but you know, a lot of people are working from home now. So suits and, you know, power dressing for the office has sort of slightly fallen by the wayside. So take a good hard look at your wardrobe and your lifestyle and sit down and really think about it. You know, do you have a young family? Do you have to rush the kids to school? Do you have to come home and then work from home and do Zoom meetings? Do you know, what is it that you need to do? Do you have to go to London for meetings? So really, really, really look at your lifestyle and the amount of time you have to get dressed and ready for certain situations in your day. So I would really recommend you take that really good hard long look. So for instance, if you're doing a lot of work at home, running the kids off, and you have a few Zoom meetings to do and you have to be smart and you don't have many going into the office meetings, then I think a really good jacket is really nice, that's comfortable, that you can move in, and really nice shirts and nice tops. And then the bottom doesn't matter that much. It's not like they're panning down to your legs, is it? Or panning down to your shoes.
Pajama shorts mostly.
Yeah, or your slippers on your feet.
Loungewear.
I love loungewear.
All right.
But if you're sort of have a busy lifestyle, I think it's really important to go, okay, these are my work clothes, basically. This is what I wear for work. And you don't need that many things. If you're going into the office 3 times a week, you need 4 basic good tops, a couple of great jackets, and a couple of pairs of trousers or skirts that you can mix and match. So maybe you choose neutral colours that you splash, as you said earlier when we first started on this interview, like with a beautiful scarf. So if you choose a neutral grey wool jacket, which fits you beautifully, you can change that with really cool jewellery, a beautiful coloured scarf. But if you buy a jacket, say that is, and I do have this in my shop, so I'm going to use an example, which is a cord sort of 70s, large paisley, ginger brown, amazing looking thing. People can go, wow, that's great. But you can only wear it a couple of times because then you've sort of lost all the appreciation for it. But if you buy something that's expensive and looks expensive and falls on you nicely, doesn't crease, and you just put it together. So I would say you need 2 good jackets. I would say you need 3 pairs of really good trousers or skirts, or mix and match depending on your preference. And I'd say you need about 4 tops, and that's going into the office 2 or 3 times a week, which you can change so you don't get bored and then go out and go mad and buy things. And then the rest, you can wear all those lovely grey t-shirts with all your homeware and whatever you feel like home. And I recommend a good pair of jeans. And depending on your age, you know, there are jeans with all the rips and the tears and all the rest, which are fine. But I think a great pair of classy jeans is a sort of what I call a Parisian blue, a dark blue pair of jeans, indigo, beautifully tailored for you. Pay the money for them, and you can put them with a beautiful jacket, a beautiful shirt, and a scarf. And you're going to look like you're from France. You're going to look $1 million. You know, it's all about the fit and the cut. It really doesn't matter what your body shape is. If you find the right cut and the fit for you, you're going to look amazing, whatever. And it's going to give you the confidence to walk into these places and do the things that you need to do, basically.
And I think it's fine following styles and fashion
Of
if
course.
it's for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I remember when those poofy skirts were in style, and I bought one of, you know, in high school we used to have all these dance and everything, and I bought a poofy skirt for me. I look horrible, but I was in fashion, but it wasn't the fashion that fits my body style. So I think it's the colors, but also the cut, as you said, the style that fits you. Then you'll look good all the time without having to worry what's in trend right now.
Yeah, that is so right. And, you know, we always wear jumpers. You know, the jumper might change slightly, but we always might go to a back wing, to a normal wing, to a drop sleeve, but basically a jumper is a jumper.
Yeah.
You know, so look at, if you're going to buy an expensive jumper, then buy a beautiful neutral, buy a beautiful, I hate the word beige, so sort of like almost a cafe latte coloured jumper in wool or cashmere, or merino and possum, which is like a cashmere and doesn't pill and keeps you warm. And then you could put a beautiful periwinkle blue scarf with jade in it and wear jade earrings and wear an amazing coloured skirt. But then you could put that jumper again with your lovely indigo blue jeans and a grey jacket and a different scarf, and it would just be a totally different look for your lifestyle. And to be honest, most women wear 20% of their wardrobe, full stop. The rest
Gets sold on eBay.
it all gets on eBay. Or if women are clearing out their closets, there are charities for women and men who are starting new jobs and can't afford to buy new clothes. So that's, you know, then you're recycling them to a really good cause. You're giving them to someone else who will then get a job and wear these clothes and feel smart and feel confident wearing them before, and not just being sold on eBay.
That's amazing. I didn't know that there
Yeah.
were specific charities.
Yeah,
Can you
there
name
are.
any? Are you...
I can't off the top of my head. Sorry, I
okay.
ought to have
But,
researched that.
we
Sorry.
could have just Googled that. But
Yeah.
yeah, instead of a charity shop, which just is general, right? But if there is a charity that supports that, and that's very good.
Yeah, and I think it's different councils. Obviously,
Yeah.
I don't know if there's one dominant one, but I know different councils use these. And then, you know, like a single mama maybe who's thinking about going back to work and is a little tentative, and she's got a little family to look after. You know, it's difficult. You know, you can't go out and, you know, if you haven't got a job and you're going for a job, and splash out on a new outfit for an interview and for your work. So this is like a really nice thing to do. And the confidence clothes gives you. My mum always used to say to me, if you're feeling miserable, don't look at the ground, look up and put on your best outfit, because you will feel amazing in 10 minutes, whatever your mood is. And it's a very true thing with women and men going for new jobs and having something that someone's given them and it's in good quality and they can wear it. And they walk in and they feel good. They don't feel like, oh my gosh, everyone's looking at me because I can't afford a nice jacket, or I can't, you know, I've had to buy food for the family or pay the bills, etc. It's just a really nice way of doing it, I think.
I used to do speeches and talks in various stages around the world. We had like a couple of countries. And then because of that, a lot of people used to ask me, what gives you that confidence when you're on stage? And stages are raised, right? And then the audience is being under you, and then there's lots of lights everywhere. One of the tips I said, make sure you're wearing comfortable clothes that make you look good. One of the biggest mistakes I had, I should have checked how high that stage was. I was in a panel position, so I was sitting in the sofa, which sank, and I was wearing a skirt.
Ooh.
And the audience was
directly
under me, you know, and I was just like trying to deliver what I had to deliver, but also trying to pay attention, like, where are your eyes going, you know? And then I was just very self-conscious. And I think it was that particular instant, I can't remember which country it was, at that particular instant, I just said, look, you guys, if you want confidence, feel good, look good, because you're wearing things that fit and is comfortable.
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah.
And to be honest, you don't have to follow fashion, inverted commas, because fashion is you. You're the fashion. You create your own fashion. You're an individual. You create your own look. Just because, you know, a very high-end magazine with a large budget tells you need a £10,000 shirt, which has got gold things all over it and hanging tassels, that might suit someone, but it might not necessarily suit you. You are your own fashion. Always remember that. You create your own fashion, your own style, and the way that you look. And I don't mean to be out there brash wearing a pink wig with, you know, orange nipple coverers or something. What I do mean is just follow your heart, you know. Don't be persuaded by other things.
Exactly.
Or advertising.
Well, very, very passionate about fashion. And I suspect when people come to your shop and they meet you, they can also count on you to give your opinion about the things that they've chosen.
Oh, I'm so bossy. It's so embarrassing.
Not opinion. Like, no, put that down. I'm
Yeah,
not
no,
ringing.
it's so
I'm not ringing the
serious.
till on that one.
No, I do refuse to people to buy things. The thing with my
wow.
ethic is in the shop. Angela and I work so hard to get amazing, amazing clothes, and we travel all over Europe to find them and things that nobody else has. So we want, and I'm a people person, and for me, money's bits of paper with printing on it. That's why Angela's around, to really help me and make me understand we need that. But when someone comes in, for me, my whole purpose is to make that person feel amazing. Absolutely amazing. And a lot of women of a certain age come in because, you know, before they got married, they were all doing their thing and looking hot and, you know, fly and doing all their stuff. And then they get married and they have a couple of kids, and then they're looking after their husband or their partner and their children, and they become last. And then everyone flies the nest. Bye, bye, darling, off, bye, I'm off to college, bye, bbye. And then they stand there and they look at themselves and say, oh my God, you know, 15 years have passed or 18 years have passed, and what happened? I don't suit. My skin's changed, my hair's changed, and I call it losing the mojo. So for me, when women come to me and go, I've lost my mojo, which they don't exactly say in their words, the thrill for me of dressing someone and giving someone their mojo is so fantastic. It makes me feel really good, and it makes the person feel good. And then you see them looking. People stand in a certain way in the mirror when they like themselves.
Yeah.
So if they don't like themselves, they sort of look down. Yeah. If they like themselves, they start to put their shoulders back. They stand back, and it's fabulous, you know. And for me, I show people what suits them. I don't sell to them. I show them what suits them. If they want to buy it, that's up to them. That's not my decision. My job is to show people how amazing they can look in certain shapes, silhouettes, colours, all of those things. But it's not my job to sell it to someone.
Yeah, well, it's their decision.
That's
It's
their
based on their
decision.
need as well at that time,
Yeah.
etc. Great to have you on the show.
Thank you so much. It's been an honour.
Well, again, I really encourage you. I've got this. I love that winter's coming because then I can wear your sweater again.
Oh, we've got some lovely sweaters going.
Yours is the warmest in my.
Thank you.
I absolutely love it. So yeah, Uber Clothing. It's just Uber. Okay, in the shop front, you just say Uber. There's this nice statues of whippet dogs or whatever it is,
Bronze,
greyhound, bronze
yeah.
statues. I love it. And you can see all her quality line of clothing in there. And if you are lucky enough to meet Tanya, she will dress you whether you want it or not.
I know I'm bossy, but it's done with love.
It's love. Yeah.
This is Radio Bath.